Hey, Scott, it's a pleasure to
Hey,
meet you.
Brandon, how you doing? Good to meet you. I'm hungry for horror.
Oh, right on. We're going to talk a lot of different things. I have two separate podcasts that are on the iHeartRadio app, Appetite
Right.
for Horror and Appetite for
Uh-huh.
Distortion. And you have connections to both horror and Guns N' Roses. But before we get to that, I know, I'm crazy. And I also do
Oh,
what producer Mike is doing for you today. So I do a lot of things here at iHeart.
okay, cool. Do your
Uh,
thing, man.
right on. So Sullivan's Crossing, and I apologize for this right away. So
Mm-hmm.
Sully Sullivan from Sullivan's
Mm-hmm.
Crossing.
Mm-hmm.
If you sell seashells by the seashore, the script must be very difficult to get through. I'm sorry. I had to. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
You know what? I'm gonna talk to the showrunner, Roma Roth. We're gonna put that in. I
Right
like that.
on. How
Yeah,
did
I'm gonna
this
put that
well, I appreciate that. How did this
in.
project come about on the CW?
I got a phone call from my manager, had a Zoom call with Roma Roth, lasted 90 minutes. She sent me some scripts. I said yes. It's as simple as that. As
Fair
simple as
enough.
that.
Right on.
Very challenging material. Was going to have to get really naked emotionally. And, it just presented a challenge that I wanted to take on. Don't know why. I just wanted to. It's, you want to keep growing as an artist. And I guess that's the justification. But glad I did. Great experience.
Right on. Well, I read something that maybe that is a reason why you went onto such a heavy project, and that's your 9-year old, your
Mm-hmm.
kid. And
Mm-hmm.
I just became a dad 5 months ago.
Oh, congratulations,
Thank
man.
you. So I know that
Yeah.
changes your perspective. So do
Oh,
you
yeah.
have him in mind when you're playing a dad? Because you played all sorts of roles, of course, throughout your career. But here you're playing a dad.
I'm gonna confess to something.
Hmm.
He's the reason that I'm able to do this kind of work because, as you know, when you have a child, you find your heart, your true heart, and you didn't realize, at least in my case, how big my heart was and how deeply I could love another person. And um, I'm gonna choke up talking about him. Sorry. So he's the reason that I'm able to do this kind of work because I miss him so terribly. And my wife and I sat down and really talked it out about I'm going to be on location for 3, 4 months at a time. If this show is successful, it's going to be every year. This year, unfortunately, um, our schedule was moved to when he was starting school.
Hmm.
So they can't be with me. And last year they were with me a lot. And it's just difficult to be without my family. And that's really the only reason that I'm able to do this work is because my boy is in the world. So
Right on.
he's my inspiration. So
And now I can finally I understand what you're saying. I'm only
yes.
5 months into it, and usually, I mean,
Mhm.
I'm in my studio apartment. He's still sleeping. A lot of times, he is my little co-host with me, and through that learning that love, of course, meeting my wife, and this is a segue into because I know we have a short amount of time.
Mhm.
I had never seen an episode of Gilmore Girls until last year when
Mhm.
she decided to do a complete rewatch. And
Mhm.
of course, when your significant other is watching something, you're watching something by association. And
Mhm.
I couldn't believe how much I liked it. And I liked your character and all the rock and
Mhm.
roll references. So
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
would love to ask about your friendship with Sebastian Bach. I can't believe watching that again. I'm getting my rock and roll fix and everything. And I
So
love this.
we had a night on the Sunset Strip at the Rainbow and the Roxy, and he took me out to Malibu to meet Axl Rose was having a party and having some of his friends over, and I got to meet and hang out with Axl, and he's a great guy. Showed me his car collection and introduced me to all his friends, and it wasn't the rock star image that you think it's going to be, right?
Mm.
This is going to be like some crazy, insane thing, and he's just like a normal guy, nice guy, happy to see you, wants you to have a good time, makes you feel comfortable. Um, yeah. So, the famous quote from Sebastian Bach is 6 a.m. sitting in the makeup trailer with him, and he looks at me and he goes, in his rock star voice, he says, Sebastian Bach. And I can't say the name of the show, but that other, I'll call it the other show. Sebastian Bach's on the other show. It's so wrong. It's right. Whoa. He's an hysterical guy.
I love that.
He's a screamer. That guy's a screamer. Very funny guy. A lot of heart, soul. And it was always fun when he was on set. Trust me. It was a lot of fun.
I can only imagine. Thanks for sharing that, because I listened to part of that story on your podcast, because Sebastian was on your podcast.
Right.
Now, let me ask, because you've obviously played so many different roles throughout your career, and we're in October, it's Halloween. How does it feel to be a part of the Saw franchise that just hit movie number 10? And you were in 4 and 5, I believe. And it's so funny because, again, in Gilmore, I had never seen it. I'm like, that's the guy from Saw. That's the guy I knew from everything else. So how does it feel like when you play
I don't think
character? God, sorry.
I don't think I could have chosen anything so different from the other show than that. The reason I took the job was because I'd never played a character like that. It was an FBI psychological profiler, which fascinated me, absolutely fascinated me. You can't really judge the genre. You can't judge anything. You just got to look at the role. What can you bring to this role? And I could bring fresh eyes to it because I'd never done anything like it. I went to the FBI in Los Angeles, and they put me through sort of a mini training program. It was fascinating. I learned a ton, and executed the role. The director, to his credit, gave me a lot of freedom to structure my own scenes and to choreograph my own scenes and block them out. I love that, and I think that's why it had such resonance with the audience. I like being given the freedom to do my own thing. I have that freedom here somewhat. Roma Roth has given her actors a voice, which is very rare in this business. And I think that's why it really resonates with people. The Canadian audience is captivated. The U.S. market has just been exposed to one of them. And we're getting really strong feedback, positive feedback. And that's why I think the show can be really impactful for you, because here you've got a bunch of characters from a broad spectrum of backgrounds and experience going through really familiar things. People will recognize themselves in these characters, in these situations. Everybody has family strife. Everybody has personal issues. So, grab a box of tissue, cry it out with us for an hour, and you're going to feel a heck of a lot better. And maybe you'll get to see some examples of how maybe you should play some things out in your own life, or confirm that you did the right thing by resolving the conflict with mommy or daddy or brother or sister or cousin, whoever. Because everybody's got these issues. So there's a universality to this piece that was also very attractive as well. And I'm really looking forward to, we have a little break now, and I'm looking forward to the break being over because I want to get back to work because I love the work, so it's a good bunch.
Well, I love your work. Again, I've been following you. I didn't realize, again, watching Gilmore Girls, I'm like, isn't it? He was in Seinfeld. I'm like, all these things. So it makes me, getting to know you a little bit, appreciate your work so much more. So I am going to watch Sullivan's Crossing, and knowing you, there's going to be comedic relief in between the tears. So just congratulations, and continue.
Well, we're trying. We're trying.
Okay.
We're trying to lighten it up a little bit, but it's a heavy emotional sort of romantic drama. Okay. I'm the dram part of that. I am not the rom part of that. But so I'm bringing the drama.
Gotcha.
And it's fun. We're having a blast. And we find light moments here and there, which is important because that's real. But thank you. Yeah. Watch, and I think you'll enjoy it.
Awesome. Thank you, Scott. I really appreciate this time, and I hope we get to do it again.
I do too. Thanks, Brandon. Take care.